Hi, I'm Chris Goodman, and I'm an Alteryx ace and innovator.
And I'm Joshua Burkow, also an Alteryx ace and innovator.
Welcome to Alteryx. Hi, I'm Chris, and I'm going to give you a walkthrough of Weekly Challenge 231. So if we run the workflow, we'll just have a look at what we've got as our input data. And we have here a field called name, and then we have variables 1 through to 15. And if we look at the desired output, what we want to be able to get is 3 fields named name 1, 2 and 3. And then we've got the unique combinations in here. So there's 455 records that we're looking to create. So if we take this input, the first thing we need to do is remove the variable prefix to these numbers. So we'll bring in a formula tool. We'll select name, and then we'll type in the function replace. What we want to replace is name. We want to replace the prefix var, and we'll replace that with a blank value. Run that just to kind of show you that removes the var prefix. So we can see now we have some numbers down here. What we then want to do is bring in an append tool, and this is the way to make the combinations. So first we'll bring in an append tool here and connect both sides into the target and the source. And then we'll do the same to create our 3 permutations. And we'll just rename our outputs here. Let's just make this window look a little larger, and we'll call this name 1, name 2, and name 3. Once we've got that, our data set now has a total of 3,375 permutations, and that's the equivalent of 15 times 15 times 15. What we want to do now is we want to filter out our values where the numbers appear more than once. So in record 1, where we've got 1, 1 and 1, we want to remove those. So we'll bring in a filter tool. And we want to set up a custom filter where name 1 does not equal name 2 and name 1 does not equal name 3. And then there's one more combination in here. Name 2 does not equal name 3. Next we want to bring in a transpose tool. Stick that on the true anchor. Oh, one step before that we want to bring in a record ID. We bring in the record ID so we've got something to kind of group on later on. And then when we transpose, we want to group on our record ID and then bring these 3 fields down to our data. We'll bring in a sort. Connect that up to here so you can see it on the screen. And we want to sort on value ascending. I'll just run this workflow here and did a couple of steps here, so I'll just kind of show you what's happened here. So we've got our record ID, So we can see our sort of name 1, 2 and 3. Then we've transposed it, so we've now got 3 records for each record ID, and then we've sorted it, so we've gone values showing all of the 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s. We've done that because what we're going to do now is we're going to use a summarize tool. I'm going to do a trick here, call it a design pattern, and I'll write a separate blog about that. But what we'll do is we'll group by our record ID, and then our value here, because it's a string, we can now concatenate it. And because we pre-sorted it, so it goes value 1, 2, 3, etc. When we concatenate it, we'll get all of our numbers concatenated in that same order. If we run this workflow, what we can see here is our record ID 1 has the concat value of 1, 2, 3, and also if we look at record ID 14, that was also 1, 2, 3. The data coming into it as in the permutations wasn't 1, 2, 3 for record 14. We can look at that here, and we can see that record 14 was actually 1, 3, 2 in its permutation, but we're treating that as a duplicate value. We don't matter which order it is, we just want unique combinations of digits. So what we'll do now is we'll bring in a unique tool. And then we'll do a unique on concat value. We'll run that workflow. And what we can see coming out is we now have the 455 records, which is the same number of records that we want in our output. But our data at the moment has the concat value instead of it having name 1, 2 and 3. So a quick way of doing that is, because we've got the record ID and our data has the columns name 1, 2 and 3 before, we can bring in a join tool. If we join from this point here, bring that into the right anchor, and then set our join up so the left hand side record ID is equal to the right hand side record ID, and then we can actually get rid of both of our left fields, and we also don't need record ID anymore. So what we'll get in our output on all of the joins is name 1, 2 and 3. I'll just bring in a browse tool just so we can see that coming out at the end. If we run this workflow, we can see we've got 455 records coming out, and we've got the fields name 1, 2 and 3, so that matches our output, our desired output here. And the trick that I like to use, if you've not downloaded it, I encourage you to download them. There's a crew macro that's called expect equals, also expect equal, and then it's got 2 input anchors, so E is the expected input and A is the actual. So if we bring our expected input from up here, this is a great way of quickly checking that our answer matches the desired answer. So this tool will error if there's anything wrong with it, and in the results it will tell you why those errors occurred. So it might be a mismatch on a data type or the ordering, but we can see when we run this workflow there's no errors coming out of the expect equals, so we know we've matched that workflow perfectly. Thank you for watching. Click here to watch more and here to subscribe.